Today's episode, we are going to explore the topic of the living fence by reviewing a different creator's video on their methods and ideas for 10 different living fences. This should be very interesting, a little bit fun, something different. But before we get going, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Subscribing is free, it costs you nothing, and it will unite the two of us for the eternity of YouTube, which is quite wonderful and quite special. But seriously speaking, guys, I would be honored to have you. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Let's get into this.
Are you looking
Are
for
you having
living
fence
fence
ideas?
ideas?
Maybe the
Maybe the
thought
thought
of
of
natural
natural
fence
fence
is more
is more
appealing than a
appealing than a
stodgy
stodgy
wood or
wood
metal.
or
I just want to point out, and this isn't a criticism, but it seems that we're going to be having a look at natural fence ideas from a non US perspective. I can tell that right off the bat for a few reasons. In European countries, they paint this white coating on trees, especially young trees, to prevent them from being consumed by bugs. And if you have a look at that fence behind the gardener, it seems to be in a very Soviet, post Soviet cement style. And there also are what appear to be electrified train tracks behind this garden. So either we're going to see something that does not really jive with what we do back in the US, or we're going to get some really cool ideas that we would have never come across by our own fruition. So I think it's really important always when gardening to look outside of your bubble for ideas and inspiration. This is how you can create something really unique and special that is going to make your neighbors jealous. That being said, if you remember my pros and cons video, there are some legalities to gardening, such as the type of vegetation you can plant, the way it's planted, the proximity that it can be to legal boundaries, so on and so forth, that need to be considered. So, whereas if this lady is in Slovakia, let's say, and you are in California, you might not be able to have the same privacy fence. That's why I wanted to point out the potential geographical difference here.
Metal
metal structure for
structure
you.
for you.
Different fence
Different fence
ideas are one
ideas are
of
one
our
of our
most
most
favorite
favorite
ways
ways
to
to
change and
change and
enhance the
enhance
look
the
of our
look of our
backyard.
backyard.
And
And
living fence
living fence
ideas are
ideas
no
are no
different.
different.
And in
And
this
in this
video, we'll
video,
share
we'll
with
share
you
with
the
you the
top
top
10
10
living fence
living fence
ideas so
ideas
you
so
can
you
get the
can get the
juices
juices
flowing
flowing
to start
to
your
start
own
your
in the
own in the
backyard living
backyard
area.
living.
My juices are already flowing 100%, but I don't think that a natural living fence would be any way to enhance the way that your garden looks so much as it would be to make your garden an enhanced privatized space. That's the whole reason that I built a natural privacy wall. I was goddamn sick of my neighbors, pardon my French, and just wanted to have a place where I could sit privately with my wife, my kids. We could play, have fun, and not have peering eyes on us every 5 seconds. I think that's the real reason for having a privacy fence. But yeah, maybe people would build it just for the sake of enhancing. But you know, effectively, fences are typically built to put a border and a barricade between two parties. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And maybe we should ask people in Berlin what their opinion is. They know all about fences.
Area.
Some
Some
benefits
benefits
of
of
having
having
a
a
living
living
fence
fence
are
are
simply
simply
that
that
they
they
can
can
be
be
more
more
beautiful
beautiful
and
and
they
they
also
also
help
help
with
with
noise
noise
reduction.
reduction.
Just
Just
like
like
with
with
regular
regular
fences,
fences,
living
living
fences
fences
will
will
keep
keep
out
out
honest
honest
people.
people.
If
If
someone
someone
really
really
wants to
wants to
get
get
through the
through the
fence,
fence,
then they
then they
will. It
will. It
doesn't
doesn't
matter the
matter the
type of
type of
fence you
fence you
have.
have.
Okay, I agree with this to an extent. Privacy wise, yes, keep people away. Reduction in noise pollution, I'm afraid that unless you're planning like a entirely tropical forest that's like a mile thick, it's not going to do a whole lot. So I wouldn't recommend investing thousands and thousands of dollars on plants just so that you could have a sound buffer between you and a road or you and a noisy neighbor, because I assure you that when my neighbor plays their music and makes racket, I hear it just as if it was happening within my own garden. So the sound barrier, I don't really agree with. Now, the lady commented on the fence actually potentially keeping out intruders. Um, Actually, I think there's a bit of truth. She said that people could penetrate them, but honestly, in some ways, penetrating a living fence can be less pleasant than penetrating a normal fence. You know, a normal fence, you can just get fence cutters and snip your way through it. Whereas a living fence, you're not going to clip your way through it in the same amount of time, especially if it's dark. If you have ill intentions, it makes a lot of noise. Someone might notice you. But and this isn't a suggestion to do any kind of booby trapping, but if you were to incorporate, let's say, a line of roses on the exterior of your privacy wall, then I think the thorns could present a very effective barrier to keep out intruders.
For most living fences, they might take a little longer to fill out. You can buy the shrubs or the plants at full height if you want, but they'll still have to grow together.
Do not buy your plants at full height because the percentage of them that will die is going to be significantly higher, and what you'll end up with is a bunch of uneven looking shrubs. What you want to do, if you need a privacy fence like tomorrow, plant ornamental grass. It will grow in, and within a few months, you will have some privacy, which is fantastic. But her advice to buy full sized, not only is this risky, but it is going to be terribly expensive. I don't know. If you're Bill Gates, okay, go ahead. But for ordinary working class people, not advisable because not only will you spend a lot of money, but they might not survive.
To all come together. And of course, if you want to save a little bit of money, then you can get these smaller versions of the plants and then wait for them to grow to the desired height. So with all that, let's dive in. The first idea is the yellow forsythia blooms fence. This is a beautiful yellow bush structure that will tell you that
Okay, she's showing this bush when it's in blossom. So, yes, it's very, very beautiful. Actually, one of the walls of my garden has a somewhat similar bush, but it only looks like that for a very short period of the year.
tell you that spring is here with the yellow blooms. And if you're looking for living fences that can get as high as 9 feet, then you might want to check these out. They average from 3 feet all the way up to 9 in height. You also won't have to wait too long for them to grow since they are a fast-growing bush. You do well to get smaller plants to save a little bit of money and then let them grow to your desired height. You can also choose to let them grow wild or keep them manicured into tiny little shrubs.
As long as you're comfortable with the fact that the flowers are only there when the plant is in bloom, this is actually a pretty good option. But it'll grow a little bit faster than some of your ferns. But I don't really gravitate towards that kind of vegetation.
Number two is the trumpet creeper fence. I love the sunset trumpet creeper to form a fence. Our neighbor had these when we were kids, and I'd love to pick the trumpets and play with them. They are hardy, so once they're established, there's very little that you'll have to do for them. And this is a vine, so you will have to have a small structure underneath just to give them a place to grow. But once they're fully established, it's very thick, luscious, and provides a great fence structure for privacy.
Yeah, that's true. That one is a little bit more hardy than the first example, so it's a good pick.
Number three is the bamboo fence. Bamboo is hardy and fast-growing. You can also have several different varieties to choose from. We have a bamboo fence on one side of our backyard. Actually, I should say our neighbor has the bamboo fence, and I love how beautiful it is.
Neighbors having bamboo fences. Bamboo is an invasive vegetation, so you have to maintain it because if you neglect this for a series, let's say that you have some health problems or you move away and there's some reason that you can't tend to the bamboo, you might come back to a very unpleasant scenario that the bamboo has taken over your grass lawn, and at that point it's very difficult to remove because, as we all know, bamboo is a hard wooden type of structure. So it's true, it will give you great privacy. It's kind of difficult to penetrate even, but the maintenance of it will be overwhelming.
We don't have to do much. We do have to cut it back in areas where it gets a little bit too large on one side. Now, since bamboo is a grass, it can start running in different areas, so you'll want to just keep it trimmed back so it doesn't overtake your whole backyard. And the bamboo height is just as amazing. Our bamboo is easily 15 to 20 feet tall, so it provides great privacy in the
So it
backyard.
provides great
Like
privacy in the backyard.
Definitely check your neighborhood zoning because not all neighborhoods will be happy to have any bamboo. It's invasive, and she said it grows to be 20 feet tall, so that might not really work in your
with
neighborhood
most of these
subdivision.
living like with most
Like
of
with
these
most
living
of these
fences,
living
the
fences,
bamboo
the
fence
bamboo
is
fence
great
is
for
great for
reducing
reducing
backyard noise.
backyard noise.
Number 4 is
Number
the
four is the
pyracantha
pyracantha
fence. The
fence. The
pyracantha
pyracantha
is a
is a
beautiful
beautiful
red
red.
vel
Vel-
the
the
pyracantha is
pyracantha
a
is a
beautiful
beautiful
fiery
fiery
red
red
shrub
shrub
in the
in the
family of
family
the
of the
Rosaceae
Rosaceae
and
and
is
is
a
a
common
common
name
name
for
for
firehorn
firehorn
or
or
pyracantha.
pyracantha. Number
Number 5
five
is
is the
the
honeysuckle
honeysuckle.
fence.
Honeysuckle, I think we're coming upon one of the most beautiful types of bushes that you can use. Unlike those flowery bushes, this one is gorgeous. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's an evergreen. Maybe she'll
Fence.
One of
specify.
One
my
of
favorite
my
spring
favorite
smells
spring
is, of
smells
course, the
is, of course,
honeysuckle.
the
Like
honeysuckle.
the trumpet,
Like the
this is a
trumpet,
vine
this is a
that will
vine
provide a
that will
great
provide
living
a great
fence
living
around your
fence
property.
around your property.
And when it's
And
blooming,
when it's
you get
blooming,
the
you
added
get
bonus
the
of the
added bonus
wonderful
of the
smell in your
wonderful
backyard.
smell in your
Now, you can
backyard.
also get the
Now, you
second
can also
variety,
get the
which
second
is a
variety, which
wooded
is a
shrub
wooded
that you can
shrub
grow in
that
the
you can
shape
grow in the
the
shape
perfect
that's the
fence for
perfect
privacy.
fence for
And these
privacy.
shrubs
And
grow
these
from
shrubs grow
5 to
from
12 feet
5 to
tall,
12 feet
which
tall,
is
which
perfect
is
fence
perfect
replacement
fence
for anyone.
replacement for
Number
anyone.
6,
Number 6,
container plant
container
fence.
plant
So
fence.
basically
So
take
basically
whatever
take
plants
whatever
you want,
plants you
put them
want,
in a
put them
container,
in a
and then line
container,
those
and then line
containers
those
up
containers
into a
up
privacy
into a
fence.
privacy
This is
fence.
great
This is
for
great
changing
for
out the
changing
structure
out the
however you
structure
want your
however you
backyard
want your
fence line to
backyard
go.
fence line to
This would
go.
also be
This would
great
also
to
be
go
great
down
to
any
go
of your
down
driveway
any of your
areas
driveway
or just to
areas or
separate.
just to
This is a good suggestion, but it's going to cost you a lot. You'll need pots, it's quite expensive, but you'll be able to get taller plants that are already potted and they probably won't die. The downside is that you'll be kind of limited into how tall they can grow. This might be a better solution for people who want to have a privacy wall on their balcony.
separate for you in
A
your
little
backyard.
space for
And
you
this is
in your
perfect if you
backyard.
don't want
And
the
this is
permanent
perfect if
plant
you don't
structure,
want the
then you can
permanent
consider
plant
doing
structure.
the
Then you can
container
consider
plant
doing
fence.
the
I also like
container
this
plant
because you
fence.
can either
I also
choose to
like
get
this
all
because you can either
uniform
choose to get
container
all
plants
uniform
or
container
go with all the
plants
different types
or
of
go with
colors
all the
and
different
shapes of the
types of
containers that
colors and
hold
shapes
just
of
a
the
variety
containers
of
that
different
hold
things. So
just
it
a
could look
variety of
almost like a
different things.
wild
So it could
garden
look
in your
almost like a
container.
wild garden
Number
in your
7 is the
container.
cactus fence.
Number 7 is
If
the
you don't want to
cactus
worry
fence.
about
If
watering
you
as
don't want
much,
to
or
worry about
if you live
watering
in
as
an
much,
area
or
that
if you
gets
live in an
less
area that
rainfall, then
gets
you
less
might want to
rainfall, then
consider
you
a
might want to
cactus fence
consider
line.
a
Most
cactus
varieties
fence line.
This is a good idea if you want to keep out intruders, that's for sure. But obviously, you wouldn't be able to have this in all climates because, as we know, cacti grow in the desert.
Most
Cacti can
varieties
be
of cacti can
segmented
be
multiple
segmented
times and then
multiple
it will
times and
regrow
then it
in the
will
ground.
regrow in the ground.
Number 8 is the
Number
wild
8 is the
plants
wild
fence. There's a
plants
house
fence.
that we
There's a
pass
house that we
often,
pass
and I
often,
actually got the
and I
idea
actually
of
got the
the
idea of
living
the
fence idea
living fence
from
idea
passing by
from
this
passing by
wild
this
fence
wild
location,
fence
and it
location, and
inspired this whole
it
video.
inspired this
You
whole
can
video.
choose
You
different
can
heights
choose
and
different
colors
heights and
to
colors to
plant to fill in the
plant to
different
fill in
areas
the
of
different
your yard,
areas of your
and the
yard,
wild
and
plant
the wild
fence can
plant
get
fence
tall
can get
depending on
tall
which plants you
depending on which
choose.
plants you
If you
choose.
choose
If you
completely
choose
native
completely
plants, then the
native plants,
upkeep
then
should
the
also be
upkeep
easier.
should also be easier for you.
Exactly. This is an awesome solution for people who want to have beautiful, semi exotic looking plants in their yard, but that require almost no upkeep. You just plant them and you let them go, and the wildness of the wall is simultaneously the beauty factor of it. So, goes hand in hand.
Easier for you.
Plus,
You can also
you can
choose
also
to get
choose to
different
get
plants
different
that
plants
bloom at
that
different
bloom at
times
different
so that
times so
it
that it
almost bloom
almost
all
bloom
year round.
all year
Number
round.
9 is the
Number 9 is
evergreen
the
tree
evergreen
fence.
tree
Evergreen
fence.
tree fence
Evergreen
is
tree fence
perfect
is
if you have a long
perfect if you have a long
driveway or if you
driveway
have a
or if you
long
have a
area in
long
your
area in your
backyard.
backyard.
Depending on the
Depending on
variety
the
that you
variety
pick,
that you pick,
these trees
these
can
trees
actually
can
grow
actually
up to
grow up to
70 feet
70
tall.
feet tall.
Yeah, I have evergreens and they're awesome, but these are the ones that you want to be cautious about planting in their full size because when they're smaller, they're far more hardy. They require a lot of watering the first year, a little bit of maintenance, but once they take, they're pretty much good to go. So I would really recommend buying them smaller, being patient, wait the extra 2 years because then they will just soar. And a lot of people don't realize these are actually trees.
And there are
And there are several
several
types of
types of
evergreen to
evergreen to
choose
choose
from.
from.
One of
One
my
of my
favorites
favorites
is the
is the
juniper
juniper
because of the
because of the
great
great
smell.
smell.
Since
Since
these are
these are
deciduous,
deciduous,
they're
they're
perfect for
perfect for
year-round
year-round
coverage
coverage
and
and
providing the
providing the
best
best
privacy
privacy
for your
for your
backyard
backyard
area.
area. And number 10 is the photinia fence. This evergreen shrub is perfect to create a living fence in the area of your yard. And instead of just green shrubs, the photinia has a vibrant red shoots
They
that
really
really
show
show
off
off
after
after
they've been
they've been
trimmed.
trimmed.
They're
They're
fairly
fairly
wide
wide
at
at
5 to
5 to
8
8
feet,
feet,
and then
and
they
then they
grow
grow
as
as
tall as
tall as
15
15
feet.
feet.
So they
So
make
they
the
make the
perfect
perfect
natural
natural
fence
fence
for your
for your
yard.
yard.
And if
And
you're
if you're
looking for
looking for
other
other
fence
fence
ideas, make
ideas,
sure
make
you
sure
check.
Well, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I think that was pretty captivating to see another creator's take on privacy walls. I was happy to find that many of these options are actually in my own garden, and she was pretty much straight on when it came to her take on what's good and why. The thing I don't agree with is the soundproofing. I don't think that this will do much for you there. You should move out to the forest or the boonies if you need quiet and calm. But in terms of privacy, there was really some good content there. So, thank you again for watching. Please subscribe to the Great Gardening channel. Check out my other videos. Comment on this. Let me know what is your idea of a great privacy wall. And until we shall meet again, thank you for watching.